There's a whole lot to get into, so we're just gonna dive right in. I'm not even gonna try to summarize it in one sentence.
You and me, everything that we've been through has made us strong. You won't believe we've had our gray, but somewhere there's a light inside of us. It shows the way. Not looking for no heaven or gold, 'cause I got you. I got you. Don't wanna show us off, but you're my all that I need. Trying to sugarcoat, but I'm flying so high. I don't even know if I'm coming down. You rock my boat when you hold me so tight. The world just disappears in front of my eyes. I'm telling you why, this ain't no madness. The smoke and the mirrors are memories now. The sun's gone down like a river rushing way up above. This ain't no sugar-coated love. This ain't no sugar-coated love.
Hello everyone, it's Michelle Patterson here with Angel Souls, and this is your weekly angelic message for the week beginning July 30th, 2018. If you have not watched the past 2 weeks videos that I've done, please go back and watch them. More of that energy is going to continue. I'm not sure. I'm going to try to color correct as much as I can. We are having storms today, so it's really gloomy in here. I think it's only like 3:30 or something, but it's like nighttime in here, even with my lamps. So that's happening. But yeah, let's just get into it here. Of course, you know, we need to stop and talk a little bit about balanced empathy, okay? If you're on my mailing list, I sent out an email just to kind of touch base with everybody, make sure everybody was okay. You know, we can't take on the whole world's pain. That doesn't mean don't pay attention to what's going on. But we don't want to keep dogpiling all of the tragedies, okay? And I really want to kind of get into this because I got an interesting start of a message from somebody, and then they must have taken it down or something. But it started out something like, well, you know, you should acknowledge all tragedies. You shouldn't just talk about what's happening in your own hometown. Of course I see what's going on in Greece. Of course I saw what was going on in Toronto. Of course I see what's going on in the East Coast and, you know, all over the place. There's something going on all over the place. And we're going to talk more about that because there's going to be more of that kind of stuff to come. But there is an important message here about, like I said, balanced empathy, right? So being witness to it, sending love, having the prayers go up. And I don't want to say let it go. That's not the message here. But make sure that you're not depleting yourself. That's the message, okay? Make sure that you are taking very, very good care of your own energy and your body as well. I also have a very strange message that was coming up. I always tell you guys, they kind of prep me for these messages. And I was getting this like very persistent image of a pregnant woman who was wearing cinnabar around her neck. You're not to do that, okay? Cinnabar has mercury in it, so I don't know who that's for. You should actually wash your hands after handling it. Some people might laugh at that. I'm not listening to those people, okay? Definitely if you are pregnant, be careful of what kind of crystals you are handling. And especially do not let kids handle, ooh, as I hit my microphone, sorry. Please do not let children handle cinnabar, okay? Or if they do, make sure they're washing their hands before, you know, just to be safe, as we will see from the message here, okay? So there was that weird thing. Volcanoes keeps coming up, fire and water. People have been telling me that there are earthquakes going on all over the world. Of course, my love to you. I'm thinking of you. You are in my heart. Please feel free to get on Facebook, okay? You can get over there on the Angel Souls page. I leave all that information down below. And talk about your experiences if you want to. And we have a great community over there, okay? We do have occasionally people who try to come in and one-up, and just let's all be patient with one another as much as we can be. I'm pretty good at when somebody's getting, you know, when I feel like they have a certain energy, we make sure that they don't if they don't belong in the community, if they're being a detriment to people, obviously I would take care of it. But, come on over if you need support. All right. We are here for you. And we got more of that here. So it said volcanoes, fire, and water. I know just here in Colorado Springs, we went from, not in Colorado Springs, but my area of Colorado, we went from having forest fires to now a ton of flooding. It's been storming all week. Again, if you saw on Facebook, all that hail and everything. So that's been going on. The world, how do I want to say this? I don't even know how to begin this, because here's the thing. If you're sitting around waiting for things to even out, you're going to be waiting a long time, okay? Something has kick-started. The way you approach your spirituality, different. How we approach one another, different. Now, I'm trying to be careful with what I say here, because first of all, I don't want to, get on a tangent here, but previously, it didn't come up in the auto rate, but previously I was getting this message that people have absorbed a lot of darkness, and they are giving over to the shadow self, and a lot of people have been infiltrated. This message came through because I was asking, what is going on with people? Yeah, I'm an Ohio girl. I got my little ring on that says Tiffin, Ohio. That's where I'm from. And yeah, we tend to be a little bit nicer in my hometown, I think, or maybe I'm just biased. I don't know. But I don't remember people being so careless with one another. We've had some horrible news stories here in my town, the town that I live in now, with people, God forbid, like losing their lives over something careless. And to a lesser extent, just interacting with other people. And they can't say hello back when you say good morning, or, they look at you funny. And it's not just about like, oh, maybe they're busy. Don't excuse it away. Observe what really is going on there. Why don't people want to sort of connect anymore? I've lived a lot of places in the United States, okay? And it's a trend everywhere. Even in my home state of Ohio, people are starting to turn that way a little bit. There's something else going on, and that was the message that I got when I asked that question. What's going on with people, okay? Think of this as, someone is a really good person, but they develop a drug habit, okay? And the drug habit gets them to start acting out in very desperate ways. There's children outside playing in the rain. We can compare that to this kind of energy where people are sort of infected with this darkness. And I get the feeling even now that people are going to go further into that purely out of fear, because there's this, that they don't know what's in the light. And so they're going to scramble the other way and try to keep holding on to what was. It's not going to happen, guys. The days of magical thinking, we talk about that. With spiritual sidestepping, we talk about that too. That's really done. That's really done. And it has been done for a while. You'll see that certain things are not as popular as they used to be, or certain concepts are not as popular as they used to be, because people are getting a little more grounded. They're getting a little more, perhaps even intellectual, I'm feeling, with their spirituality, which is not a bad thing. Because it feels like it's starting to ignite the intellect, the heart wisdom, and your gut wisdom. Don't forget about the gut wisdom, right? So don't sit around waiting or resisting when things are happening, because this has been going on, and it will be going on for a good while longer. Okay? I'm sorry, there's so much coming through. Hang with me here. All right. Now let's get to the auto right part of it. Your world is upside down. We have told you of these impending times. So many have not listened. Okay. Now, we have, a lunar eclipse? I'm recording this on July 26th. I believe that's tomorrow. And already, I don't know about you guys, but I'm already seeing that people are behaving as if they are upside down, right? If you have a YouTube channel, God bless you. I'm sending protection to you. The trolls are... they are screaming, and I've had to go through, as you do when you're on social media, you have to really kind of clean house every once in a while. already this morning. I was just trying to enjoy some yoga. Got some good yoga in, by the way. But just trying to enjoy yoga, and I should have turned off my phone, but there was just all these like trolls popping up, and I'm like, really? Like, ew, like, come on. This is not, nobody needs that, right? So what I'm getting at, though, is that people are, they're going to be nuts, okay? People are going to be acting a little nutty, right? So be extra, we see this here later in the auto write, be extremely careful on the road, all right? Again, I gave that example, those careless things that happened, God forbid, you know, I say God forbid just to negate, you know, whatever energy might be behind it. But this is important to think about because there have been so many stories recently here in my hometown that I was explaining before. Those were all traffic related. Someone was impatient and had to go around somebody because they dared to do the speed limit. Like, oh my gosh, how dare you do the speed limit? And see, that's even that little tiny thing. That is so much a part of our culture. People will laugh about that. Oh, I hate it when somebody's being slow in the lane. Where did we get to that? And how much of that is ego-based? Ask yourself. Ask yourself, who do I think I am? Right? Where do I think I really need to go? Okay? Slow down. Take it easy. Don't pass people. You're fine. I mean, unless it's like, okay, talk about Ohio. Unless it's like a tractor, you have to go around the tractors. But again, be extra careful. Also be extra careful. Do not take any unnecessary risks. If you are somebody who likes extreme sports, lay low for the next week. I'm not kidding. Lay low, all right? You don't need to be out there jumping off of cliffs. You can do it later, okay? So just be careful with that. What else, guys? Come on, you were talking about that. Go ahead. Careful around water, of course. And well, they're pointing out the children. The kids are right outside. We have, I guess the rain may have let up or whatever. So you might hear them laughing and playing in the background. But we have storms in the area and we get a lot of lightning around here. So it's probably not the best thing for them to be outside right now. It's that kind of thing, okay? Extra precautions. People are, okay, did we say everything we need to? People are going to be a little nutty this week. Wait, there was something there. Go back. Okay, so I'm hearing preciousness of human lives and for us to take that a little more seriously. And I think, I hope I'm interpreting this right. The feeling I'm getting is that people get so hung up on their schedules. You know, the traffic thing is God forbid that anything happens anyway. God forbid. Protection for everybody, right? Love and protection for everybody. But it would be that kind of thing, you know, I'm only focused on my schedule. Oh, I've had an annoying day. This person isn't going fast enough for my taste. I'm going to go out and around. And one of the stories from Colorado Springs was 2 people lost their lives because somebody did that. And the guy who actually passed, he's okay. So just be careful, please, and get your ego in check. If you are somebody who loves to speed, I don't know why that's coming up, like the speeding thing. I think it's almost like metaphorical. That people are also speeding through life and they're not paying attention. We're in this time where it can be catastrophic. Now, this is not to scare you. Okay, this is one of the things the trolls are trying to be like, they come forward and they're being nutty and then they're like, oh, you're so negative. No, we're trying to get you into awareness. This is, let's do this. Let's go back. Years ago, let's go back to the early 2000s. The type of spiritual approach that was incredibly popular was the coddling kind. Lull us into a sweet, lull us with a sweet lullaby kind of thing. Tell us what we want to hear. I'm too sensitive. I can't hear negativity, right? Why was that? Because we were embarking on the time. See, scary things have been going on since the dawn of man, right? It's not that. It's not like the world is any crazier than it's ever, we might say it's crazier now than it's ever been. But it was because we were coming into a spiritual awakening time where we were going to have to face ourselves. And most people could not handle that. And most people were terrified. So they ran off to any spiritual guru who would coddle them and make them feel good. We talked at the beginning of this video that that's changing now. And that's not going to hold water. What does that have to do with this week? okay, so we got all this astrological stuff going on. Check with your favorite astrologer. But this is going to really ignite that. So people who have been hiding, you might want to check in on them. Okay, if they haven't been learning their lessons, it's not the time to judge them and be like, oh, you're not enlightened. Neither are you. As soon as you say that, you're not either. Okay, love your fellow man. Every life is precious. Whether we agree with what people are doing or not, that has nothing to do with this week or ever from this moment forward, right? We can disagree with a person for how they behave, but we need to respect that human life. So you might want to check in on people. Even if they seemed okay just a few days ago, this is hard energy. Not for everybody. I think I'm rattling my camera. Sorry. Not for everybody, though. Like a lot of people who maybe have been like, okay, you know what? I did face myself. I'm trying to make changes. I'm being honest with myself. I'm being open to healing things or whatever may have come up for you. Then this will be a little different. This might actually be a fresh beginning for you, a brand new start for you, right? So there's that. We're all over the place. I'll get back to this here in a second. They wanted me to show you the cinnabar. It's not focused, but this is cinnabar. Okay. So if you have anything like that at home, be very, very careful. And of course, I just handled it, but that's okay. I mean, I don't think it's that toxic, but definitely if you're pregnant, don't do that. Mercury poisoning, and children should not be handling it as well. Okay. They're really firing off here. All right, so please be engaged with your angels and heed their call. So no making up stories in your head so that you have this pretty little outcome to your angelic encounter, right? This is, really jumping in and really doing the work now, okay? If you're getting some sort of feeling and it goes against what you want, okay, you got to assess. Is that a mental thing? Or, listen to your instincts. All right, listen to your instincts. All right, we cannot live your lives for you. This is an important point, and that goes back to what we were saying about the spirituality approach, some of it that was popular in the early 2000s, and even go back into the 90s. And that is expecting, almost to the point of not making any choices until you checked in with your angels. Okay. You're smart individuals. You are functioning human beings. Okay. So that's not to say that if something bad happens to somebody, oh, law of attraction, you brought it on yourself. That's a little too easy. Okay. I'm sure the universe is a little more complex than that. But we're talking, and yeah, you can be like self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, you can, if you're expecting the worst, you could draw that in. That works. But we're talking about things that seemingly just happen that nobody deserves, right? There's this feeling here of humanity needs to start, we all are kind of collectively expecting the trauma. You hear things like life is hard, life is unfair, all these things. We are collectively in that mindset. And we know how powerful we are as individuals. Imagine the whole collective, right? That's letting all this darkness in. And we're not paying attention, right? And so we expect to be in a hellish world. And because we're so powerful, there's a hellish world. All right? So I can't be held accountable for what comes through from the angels. I know it sounds like a cop-out, but it's the truth. I don't know what to tell you. Okay? I wish I had all the answers for you, but that's what's coming through. Okay. Where were we? Okay. We cannot live your lives for you, but we can show you the way out of the traumas. Yes, we are with every person always, and especially when they have passed. We are with the souls of every tragedy, and they really wanted everyone to know that. It's not like they're just sitting around filing their nails and twiddling their thumbs until humans go, angels, help. They're watching, okay? They're there. Every single person that's experiencing all of these moments, they have their guardian angels. They're making me feel like right now, though, that sometimes, not every person, but sometimes people just, the fear overtakes them and they're not listening to their angels. They're not listening to their instincts, okay? So let's use that. So if you find yourself in a situation this week where it's a tough scenario and you really start feeling like overwhelmed with fear, take a breath and invite in source energy. Okay, source flows through me. Say it over and over and over again. Source flows through me. Source flows through me. And then try to, no matter what's going on, okay, try to tune into, okay, just say, angels, show me. And if you can, I know it's hard in a bad situation, but if you can be as calm and peaceful, you'd be surprised how quickly they can work. You know, you just ask them to come in. If you're in an emergency situation, God forbid, then they'll come in and help you. And then they can intervene if it's an emergency situation. But if you find yourself in a tough spot, try not to run away with that energy. Okay, try to get very, very centered and invite them in and listen to what they're telling you. If you keep having fights with your love partner, maybe the message that you're not hearing is that it's time to let that relationship go. Or if you've been lonely because you're waiting for someone to come back to you, it might be the time to let that person go, right? Same thing with a job, you know, time to reinvent yourself kind of energy, okay? So let's get back into this. For this time, you will have to take a different approach to your life. Materials will not matter. For attachment to this will bring sorrow when it is gone, okay? So all these things that we hold dear, they're on their way out. They're not going to be there, all right? So start working on the strength of your soul and the strength of your spirit. This one's important. Please listen. The children, all caps, protect the children. There are predators out there, okay? Now this is, please don't go into that. Oh, you're just trying to scare us. You're not, come back and be a part of this, okay? We need people to be aware. We just want you to be on high alert. This doesn't mean anything bad's going to happen to the kids. It's just, there are children out there who are in danger, and we need to start flowing our energy to them to protect them. See, historically, this is what we're talking about. Historically, what people have done, ooh, that's uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about that. I'm going to bury my head in the sand and pretend like it's not happening. Okay, we can no longer pretend like things are not happening. All right, you name it, you know, the human trafficking, you know, all that stuff. We need to start bringing awareness to that, and not in like a social warrior, social justice kind of way, but in a, you know, because that kind of comes with an agenda. Yes, it's helping in some ways to affect change, but the agenda, get rid of that, right? This is like, seriously, everybody start facing it, start admitting, okay, we can flow love. Love will cure everything. I'm not kidding. You just send that light from your heart. It might be one child at a time, but if we all do it, the kids will be protected. Please hear this. Please don't do this thing of, oh, you're so negative, and you run away. Because it's not for me. It's for you. Because I can see exactly what's going to happen. You're going to go running away, and the lights are going to go out. And then you're not going to know where you are. You're not going to know what to do. Right? You always have the light of your soul. If you work on that, you'll be okay. All right? But it's all hands on deck. We all need to be there for one another. Fear, work through it. Okay? Work through it, process it, and we all have to be on deck here. Protect the children. They are uncorrupted and so become desirable to darkness, to predators, right? Please be mindful. We are watching and yes, protecting, but you must play a part. Yes, that's the deal that we signed up for. We all can't just come in here and then expect the angels to give us all the answers. And you know what I mean? We have to do our part to protect the children, to protect ourselves, on and on. Be careful in vehicles. This is weird that they're getting this specific. Listen to it. Be careful in vehicles. Do not take unnecessary risks. That's what we were saying. Stay behind the person that's doing 55 miles per hour if the speed limit is 55. Okay, if you see some, guys, the feeling behind this, please be careful. Please be careful. If someone does start to pass you on the road, I know this is very specific, but I'm hanging on to it. Back off. I'm feeling like try to get out of their way as much as you can. As much as you can. And let's hope for the best, okay? Because, yeah, they're telling me because people are not in their right minds. They're not in their right minds. They're almost in a dreamlike state because things are changing and they're too terrified and they're too maybe obsessed even in some situations, too preoccupied with all the changes, right? And so they're not going to be paying attention when they're driving, okay? So we'll leave it there. Do not assume that the children are okay as things are. Take extra precautions and be extra careful. Okay. If you take your kid to the pool, put a life jacket on them. Make sure it's one that floats them with face up. Okay? If it's not, make sure that you are there with your child. They do not leave your sight. It's that sort of thing. Okay? All right. Practices, parentheses, spiritual, you are in a time of different approaches, as we have said. Okay. Those who feel threatened will become potentially violent. So here's the problem, and it's what we've been kind of getting at here the whole time. People are acting out because they're scared, okay? Because their way of life, the dark people, the people who willingly and happily went to the dark side, they're falling out. And what are they going to do? Talents are going to come out. They're going to start, with their words, with their actions, they're going to start clawing at anything to keep them afloat. Okay. So how do you don't give over to how do you deal with that? You don't give into your own darkness. Okay. So keep it clean. Keep it clean. Even if somebody's like really on your last nerve, try to keep it clean. That does not mean don't set boundaries. I'm a huge advocate for setting boundaries. Just do so. You set your boundary and then go. All right. You are in a time of different approaches, as we have said. Those who feel threatened will become potentially violent. The tide is high. There is no more prep. The times are here. We love you. We guide you. We protect you with all love, guardians. So guardian angels. Because, yes, the archangels were in there too, but this was like almost like the voice of every person's angel trying to come through. That's why I'm out of breath. That's why I'm getting a headache. This is why, anyway. But if you notice, it says the tide is high now, and there is no more prep. The tide is high means this is what humanity has been preparing for this entire time. And it doesn't have to be a disastrous Armageddon kind of situation unless we choose it. Spoiler alert, don't choose it. We're not going to choose it, right? So make sure that you are keeping your own energy pure without judging others. If somebody is acting cruelly, set your boundary. Go check out any comment section of my videos. I'm pretty well known for laying down the hammer. I don't take pride in fighting people. It's not that. That's not my intention. But I do like to reflect back. It's my job. It is my job, and that is my spiritual contribution, is to be the reflector, which people hate, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's get on to the cards. We'll get more information about this. Thanks for hanging in there with me. If you have hung in there with me, I know this is a very long message, but it was necessary. So let's get on to the cards. All right. As always, if you would like a personal reading with me, I'm still running ahead of schedule. You can just go to my website at angelsouls444.com, the services tab. If you would like to go over to Gumroad and check out the little courses I have over there. I also have August readings up there. And of course, your support on Patreon is always, always appreciated. The decks that I use, the music that I'm using, all of that is always down in the description box. Let's get cracking. Okay. Oh. I hope it's some good stuff, because we had some heavy messages in there, but guess what? The tide is turning, and it's really going to threaten people's way of living, and it's going to make them feel as if they've been living the wrong way. I just dropped the card. Pardon me 1 second. Okay. Oh, goodness. All right. So what flipped out of the deck is Tanzanite Clarity. And this is the important message behind this, is that you're going to get clear on how you have been living. And you're going to get clear on how things need to change. Now, each of us is going to have a different outcome, because we're going to have, a different willingness to change. This is also very like Archangel Michael kind of energy. Michael can come and cut through the fog, so to speak, to help us see things differently, so that we're not afraid of that change. Okay. Oh, there's the thunder. The sky is getting really, really dark. So I want to get this done and get away from the window just in case. All right. They're wanting you to know it will be okay, but they just don't want people to get complacent, because historically everybody has been like, oh, I just need to work on this little thing and I'll be, oh, good, that's what feels right about life. Because we do get too hung up on how's my business, how are things going? what's my life's path and purpose? I'll talk about it here in just a second. You know, we get so hung up on the day-to-day. I do too. And that's why I unplugged this morning, and, you know, I made sure I got some yoga in, some meditation before. There's another one popping out. Dioptase before I got into any other work. So we have heart healing and amethyst meditation. Remember that first card, Tanzanite Clarity. Let me put these in order. Amazonite, life purpose. The way we approach our life purpose is changing, because now, see, before it used to be, as I was saying before, we were taking a little lighter approach to spirituality and our life's path and purpose. I've always said, if you got a personal reading with me, you've heard this before. Your purpose has layers, okay? It's about showing up and breathing. It's about who you love and how will you allow yourself to be loved. And yes, somewhere in there, there is your career and the various chapters of your career. But this means that we're going to start looking at life's path and purpose about, you know, from the perspective of, why was my soul created? Okay. You heard me say before, part of my purpose is to reflect back to people. Okay. So even when they get ruffled, it's probably because I reflected back something that they were giving me, and that people have a hard time with that. But that's a deep purpose. Okay. It's not about being a messenger. That's surface level. That's obvious. Okay. That's what I'm here doing right in front of you. For each of you, you're going to start looking at the deeper meaning of your life's path and purpose and going, okay, my soul was created to be a mom, or my soul was created to experience perhaps wanting to be a mother, but it doesn't happen. And then I find out later that my purpose is to help these kids that, you know, maybe their parents had to give them up, and, you know, I'm going to go be a part of this group or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So this is where they say, let go of your plans, because those plans are not going to go. Right? And someone out there, again, you may have given up on love or whatever. Like, you're ready to just be like, okay, fine. I'm just going to make the best of being single. This is my life. I'm going to embrace it. And then boom, the hammer. Okay, the hammer. Some love is coming in, and just boom. Now, if you're somebody who's like expectantly like looking at the window hoping someone notices you, this is not you. Okay, this is somebody who really, the reason why I say this is the energy of somebody who really has just been like, I can't take one more heartbreak. I can't take one more breakup. I'm better off alone. That's somebody who's like resolved, like I am. That's kind of me. I am better off alone. And then here it comes, right? So that's some happy times. Whether that'll happen exactly in this next week or not, I don't know, but there's something around that. So someone out there should be very aware. So we have dioptase here, heart healing. Now, this is a week, they're saying you guys have to get ready, or we all have to get comfortable with things being messy. All right. So that's the other kind of trend that we have with our spiritual approach and practices. We wanted everything to have a nice, neat little story. We had to rationalize everything. I did the same thing, you know, oh, this means this and this means that and blah, blah, blah. It's a great starting point. It's a great jumping off point, but we're going deeper here. And the heart healing that will take place this week is not going to have a neat little story around it. It's not going to be like, oh, well, my father left me when I was 3 and, you know, we reunited and now we're happy. It's going to go far deeper than that. I met my father, who left at 3, and at the age of 3, and I had to ask him, what made you leave? And I had to test myself to not judge him and try to walk in his shoes to see what he was really thinking, to see if I'm truly going to be empathetic, right? In a balanced way, of course. If I'm truly going to be empathetic, I have to give someone else the chance to speak. I have to give them the chance to be who they are, and not put pressure on them, even with my energy, to say what I want to hear. Does that make sense? That's why we say it's going to be messy. So people might hurt your feelings. People might shock you. People might not expect the heartfelt questions that maybe you have. I feel like someone's grandmother is coming up, and grandma, to someone out there, you know, she's just grandma. And then you might have because this heart healing is like being open, having an open heart, or open-hearted kind of conversation. And you might ask grandma a random question, and then you get this story and you're like, grandma partied back? What? Grandma did what now? And you might find out that grandma has quite a history and quite a story, and she did something very, very important. Someone out there is going to experience that. I can feel it. But those are just examples. For each of you as individuals, again, this is a general reading, but for each of you as individuals, there could be something that doesn't go according to plan. But I almost want to say this: the more messed up your plans are, the more grateful you should be, because there's some good stuff. There is good stuff. I know the auto write was kind of heavy. It's like protect the children, but just watch out for the kids. You know what I mean? Don't turn your head. Now, we don't want to go crazy and, like, you know, a mom yells at her kid in Walmart and you're on the phone calling the police. You know, like, balance, okay? Like, that's the situation. But, you know, I have a perfect example of that yesterday. One of my neighbors was out on his balcony. I was checking my mail. He's screaming at this child that was down in the driveway. And it was me and a couple of other adults. And we stopped and we observed, like, what's he doing? Is he verbally abusing this child? And then I realized the kid was giving him some lip and dad was just setting a boundary. And I was like, okay. But you have to make sure that you're not jumping to conclusions about things. We're learning this delicate lesson of balance, okay? We keep saying that. You're going to hear it more. It's kind of a thing, all right? So then we have Amethyst, which is very healing. It's a good meditation stone. And that's why this says a meditation. But the purple is, you know, like your higher wisdom, taking a higher look at it without being pretentious about it. How many times have you heard somebody be like, oh, I'm in my wisdom, I'm so enlightened? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying so like that. But remember my voice. When somebody says that to you and you're like, yeah, but you can't figure out your life. Remember Michelle Patterson of Angel Soul saying to you, the second you claim to be enlightened, you are not enlightened. Okay? All right, to the color card. Let's see how it goes. All right. I mean, I'm kind of shuffling out of frame, but you guys, you must trust me by now, right? You know I'm not making this stuff up. All right. I want to make it clear that even though we had to give you some hard messages, they're kind of shaking us awake, and there might be more of that to come, okay? We need to change how we interact with one another. Oh boy, here we go. More. All right, so they're talking about how humans overcorrect. We've heard that from them before. We went from a time, not a time, plenty of times where it's been like, we don't care about if you're not the same skin color as me, then forget you. If you're not the same religion as me, then forget you. I'm going to mistreat you. I'm going to maybe even do horrible things to you because you're not like me. Then we overcorrected. And then we start getting into this whole, like, you know what, Michelle? I don't like that lemon lime summertime look you've got going on in your eyes. It reminds me of a dragon, and dragons are fiery, and I find them aggressive, and that scares me, and I'm offended by your eyeshadow. Take it off. You know, we're like looking for things to get ticked off about, and it's watering down the arguments that are important. Okay, so it's that pendulum thing that we talk about. We've gone way too far. That's kind of funny that they're bringing that in. And remember, they give me the feeling or the message, depends. In this case, it was a feeling, and then I interpret it. So I'm putting it in human language. Fun. All right, so we're starting to maybe, like I said, not jump to conclusions about one another. Don't assume somebody is bad, right? Don't assume. That goes for everybody. Don't just carry your hatred around and be like, well, this one person, you know, I don't know, I'm just going to make up this example. A person with red hair was really mean to me one time, and so now I hate all people with red hair. You know, come on. Apply that to everything. You know, you'd be surprised how many loving connections you can have with others. It's really time for us to buddy up and be good to one another. Not try to have power, okay? Like I said, you know, you guys know I'm like a huge person to talk about like narcissism and sociopaths and all that stuff, because people are getting hurt. Children are getting hurt, and then they grow up into dysfunctional adults who can't make their own energy. They don't understand what that is, and then they're trying to siphon off of other people. We already got people who were kids, and now they're adults, and they're doing that now. And then it's like PC to be nice to them. Discernment, okay? Silver, be persistent. The number is 27. And I'm also feeling, I was kind of wondering if the rose card was going to come out. So anyway, be persistent, don't give up, follow through. And I'm going to go ahead. It didn't, I know, this is like a big no-no. Okay. I'm wrecking the place. Anyway, when I picked up the deck, it was on the bottom of the deck. And I was like, I'm curious if that will come out. It didn't, but I'm still pulled to it. So it's rose, attract a relationship. The number is 6. I feel like that is for someone specific out there. And that might have to do with that person who said, I don't want a love partnership. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I want to wait until humanity's better before I try to do this. Things are shifting and changing. And there are a lot of nice surprises in store. But we have to take into account the other stuff that we were talking about in the auto write. So if you can do that, we'll be okay. This week kickstarts quite a lot of change. All right, so get ready for it. Have a good attitude about it. Love one another. Love one another. Okay? We'll leave it there. Take care.
I stay in bed, I still got the feeling that you're next to me. Stuck in my head when lights go off. You're everything that I could ever want. Your touch so soft. Not looking for no heaven or gold, 'cause I got you. Don't wanna show us off, but you're my all that I need. Trying to sugarcoat, but I'm flying so high.
What? Come on. But we as a humanity, we keep allowing.
When you hold me so tight, the world just disappears in front of my eyes. I'm telling you why. This ain't no madness. The smoke in the mirrors are memories. Now the sun's gone down.